welcome to the weirdest rabbit hole I have fallen down. I've been writing for most of my life. Most of that was original works, my own stories and characters, that sort of thing. But this summer I decided to branch out a bit. Because I've been so involved in the writing community for a long time, I've been pretty adjacent to the fanfiction community, despite never really being part of it. I prefer to write my own stories, and reading fanfic has never sounded super appealing to me, personally, so I've just never been interested in it. That was until this summer, when I was rewatching an old series that I used to love as a kid. And I sat there and I thought, man, I just wish they could make this more mature. Because it's a kids show, they can't go as hard into how messed up some of these things are, and I just love to see the story handled in a much more mature way. Then I thought, I'm a writer, why don't I just write it? So after many years, I decided to get an AO3 account. AO3, also known as Archive of Our Own, is one of the most popular fanfiction sites due to its filtering and tag system. Other fanfiction writing sites include Wattpad and fanfiction.net, though both of these sites have more rules and regulations on what you can post. The two of them have stricter and more specific terms of service, whereas AO3 is very much meant to be an archive, so almost anything can stay up regardless of the content, as long as it is marked and tagged correctly. Returning back to our original topic, as I was saying, this summer I started posting just a couple chapters of this fanfiction I was writing to AO3. And I mean a couple chapters, literally, because soon enough school started again and I didn't have time for anything, hence why I also haven't posted to YouTube in 2 months. Fast forward to the end of the semester, approximately 2 weeks ago, I found this story in my Google Drive. It was a short story I'd written for my friend and I's D&D campaign, and I thought, you know what? I'm still pretty proud of this. Let's go ahead and post it. So I went ahead and did that. Now, the story was already completed, so I decided to upload 1 chapter a day for about 7 days until I ran out of chapters. The more you post on AO3, the more likely you are to get kudos, comments, bookmarks, etc., because your story is going to show up higher in search results for results for that fandom, certain tags, and so on. And during this time, I got some interesting comments that led me down just the wildest rabbit hole, so let's get into it.
Hi, editing me here. A few disclaimers. Anything I say about any companies or people in this video are alleged. I don't have any concrete proof. These are just suspicions based on patterns that I've seen in the past. But again, all alleged. Keep that in mind. Don't sue me.
After posting chapters to my D&D story for a couple days, I got this comment on chapter 5 from user jury_cobb. They said, I don't comment often, but your story made me want to. It was beautiful and so well written. Your work really inspired me. If you want illustrations, I can make them for a very low price. Now, this isn't my first time around the block. I can suss out a spam comment when I see it. However, there wasn't anything that said for sure this was a spam comment. While they did advertise paid illustrations, they didn't leave any other contact information. Regardless, I did end up replying, but I said, thank you so much, but I'm not looking to commission anything right now. That way, if they are a real person, I'm letting them down gently, and if they're a spam bot, hopefully they won't try and reply anymore. And they didn't. They never commented again. However, the next day, when I posted the next chapter, I got this comment. Hi there, Warda is my name. Your story seems like it would be fantastic to illustrate, and I make visual work for original stories. I'm a paid artist, but first I'd like to know what you want. For a more seamless conversation, my Discord channel is Warda_arts. Now, this was more obviously a scam. For one, they were asking me to leave the site and go to a different site, which is automatically just not a great sign. Along with that, there's the bad grammar and so on and so forth. So I went ahead and reported them and went about my day. I figured that would kind of be the end of it. 2 comments in 2 days seemed like a lot, but also this is not super uncommon on websites like this. Fast forward to the next day, instead of updating my D&D story, I updated a chapter on my fanfiction, and a few hours later, on that story, I got this comment. Hi there. I went through your story and believe it's meant to be more than words. It could be an awesome comic. If you share the same view, I can create it. If it's easier, we can start from a senior chapter. Instagram, Delissa Burke 31. Remember the name Delissa? Immediately I was like, this is the 3rd comment in 3 or 4 days. What is going on? But then I got curious. Now, when Warda commented, I wasn't about to message someone on Discord, but with Instagram you can stalk people's profiles pretty easily without engaging in anything. So I went ahead and looked up the profile. Immediately something just fell off. All of her posts were commissions, but none of them, at least towards the top of her profile, were her own original artwork. Additionally, each comment has its own style to the point that it looks like none of them were created by the same person. Now, the account is young, at least as far as posts go. The oldest post is from May 20th of this year, and all the captions for all of these pictures are so nothing. There's this one post towards the bottom of the profile that has the caption, "A past piece that taught me everything I now take for granted." Not only does this not actually say anything, it doesn't make sense given the picture it's under. A caption like this would maybe work under like photos of family or a drawing of a loved one, but just a character seems kind of strange. And if we scroll up, we find a different post from that same day whose caption also says, "A past piece that taught me everything I now take for granted." I'm kind of beating around the bush, but to put it bluntly, it's AI. It's all AI. These pictures were made with AI, these captions were made with AI. It's all artificially generated content. If we look at this very first post of theirs, we can see the hand going into the jacket. From the post above that, the thumb right there is kind of weird. There's this T-Rex post where the feet are really strange. And the more you look at these photos, the more you find things that just don't make sense. Now, the account doesn't have a ton of followers. At the moment, it has 400 followers, which is no small number, but it's not huge either. I was able to find people who had actually commissioned this girl, and they were real people getting scammed. People who had these stories they wanted to tell.
We all have a story to tell.
Who did want to see their ideas in a comic form. So it's sad that they were taken advantage of and getting charged for artwork that Delissa wasn't even doing, artwork that is most likely generated by a computer. This is not the first time I've encountered this type of scam. When I was in middle school and high school, I used to post on Wattpad a lot. Every draft of these stories I've written are on there, and so a few times rather than comments like on AO3, I would get private messages from these users that had just created their accounts. And they'd say, "Hey, I loved your story and we'd love to publish your work. Come do business with us." And I'd look into it, and it was technically legit in a sense that they would publish your work, but there were fees and a bunch of other shady things going on that it was not worth it in the slightest. And it's kind of similar with this Delissa girl. She is giving you a product, so it's not a scam in the sense that you're paying her and not receiving anything, but it is a scam in the sense that she is promising you high quality art, but everything is AI generated. Even the messages between her and the people who are commissioning her are AI generated. On her profile, she has a story highlight called Reviews, where she's posted pictures of comments and DMs between her and her clients, and looking at the letters in the images that are from, direct messages, they have this weird outline on the letters, which is not how letters look in Instagram messages, so we can see that there's something weird going on there as well. So this is where I really started falling down the rabbit hole. In Delissa's bio, she has this link to a company. Now, I need to say this, do as I say, not as I do. Do not click on random links. But I did. So anyways, it led me to ansgraphicsltd.com, where they are advertising the exact same types of services that Delissa is promoting on her Instagram and in AO3 comments. At first, it looks like a very professional site, probably because they used a template to build it, but once you start looking closer, it gets weird. I clicked on Contact Us, which led me to this page with their phone number, email address, and their offline location. I put that offline location into Google Maps, which pulled up this random building in Wyoming. It had a few different businesses in it, but I couldn't find anything that looked like it might have been whatever company Delissa claims to work for. There was one business that had a 2-star rating, and everyone was talking about getting scammed in the comments. However, the owner of the business was insistent that they were confusing his business with someone else's. And looking at his website for his business, I think he was correct. If you look at the office suites, the one that aligns with what ANS Graphics says was their address is not that 2-star rating office, but instead an office that instead houses a business that helps you set up your own business. Looking into their website, that seemed more legit and had several 5-star reviews, but the reviews on the 2-star business do show that this address has been used by scammers in the past. Back on ANS's website, though, if you don't click Contact Us, but instead just scroll to the bottom of the page, they list their address as this random office building in New York City. So obviously I did the same thing and put that into Google Maps as well. Once again, I could not find their business in the directory. They claim to be on the 10th floor. I could not see any businesses listed as being on the 10th floor. Also at the bottom of that page, they have links to their social media. In this case, their Facebook, Instagram, and their LinkedIn. The Facebook and Instagram links were broken, not a great sign, but their LinkedIn was not. On their website, they have a UK telephone number that they list, both in their Contact Us page and on the bottom of their website. However, on LinkedIn, they state that they are US registered, but they list their headquarters as being in Pakistan under an address I'm pretty sure is also fake. They also list a phone number on their LinkedIn, and not only is it different from the UK one listed on their website, it is a Pakistani phone number. Here are a few more discrepancies between their website and LinkedIn. Their website says that they have 6+ years experience, but their LinkedIn says they only have 2 years experience and that they were founded in 2023. Additionally, their LinkedIn also links to a completely different website geared more towards business and social media management, rather than AI-generated comics for your fanfics. It also is under a slightly different name. Looking at this new website, once again, it looks nice and professional at first glance, but you look just a little bit closer and, again, it starts falling apart. It says that they have 10 years experience, which contradicts both their LinkedIn and their other website. Parts of the websites have bad grammar or graphics that just don't make sense, which you're supposed to be a graphics company. You should probably have a website that makes sense. For example, there's this section titled, "Let's Know Our Professional Team Working," which is just not grammatically correct. And beneath the title are 3 percentage bars with job titles over them. Apparently graphic designer is 98% and web developer is 90%, but what does that even mean? What are these percentages out of? And when you scroll down, they show their managers: Jane Doe, John Doe, and Lay Doe. Because this website is a template that they barely edited, we get weird things like this, and we also get discrepancies between this website and the other website. For example, such as the differences between years of experience. You can also just tell looking at this website, like, they have descriptions of what they do, and they're very vague, and they're pretty obviously AI generated. We can see this from the use of M dashes and also the rule of 3. They use that a lot as well. Now, if you go to contact us on this website, it once again shows you the UK number that we've seen, and it gives us yet another address, this time in England. That's 4 different addresses that they've listed as their company headquarters. This site, from what I can see, is just a house, and so it's probably fake once again. My favorite thing I did find on this new website was when you hovered over our services, it listed search engine optimization, social media management, mobile app development, website development, typical marketing things. And then it said business stuff / branding. I'm in business school right now. You do not say stuff as a word in one of your services. And the best part is they doubled down on it. You click on that service and it says in big bold letters in the graphic, business / branding stuff. It's so funny. I was genuinely cackling when I saw it the first time. I find these kind of scams so interesting because they target such a specific type of person. In the past, because I have an Instagram that I post a lot of art and drawings on, I've been contacted by similar scams. I had one where this lady asked me to draw a photo of her daughter and she offered to pay me $200. I agreed to do it, but I asked for some payment up front, and she said, "What's the name so I can send you an electronic check?" And I said, "I only do PayPal or Venmo." She doubled down and said, "Give me a name for the check." At which point I started to figure out this wasn't legit, so I blocked her. I found out later my friend, who's also an artist, had the exact same person contact her. Same username, same prompt for the drawing, everything. The goal of the scam was for her to be like, "Oh no, I sent you $2,000 in this check instead of $200, give me $1,800 back." Thankfully, I cut contact before that could happen, and my friend who was contacted thankfully also didn't get to that point. I'm bringing this up because these comments on fanfiction websites are doing almost the opposite. Instead of them trying to pretend that they're commissioning me, they're asking me to commission them, even though the comic or art that they're returning isn't actually theirs. It just feels very similar. And this isn't just happening on AO3. If you search Jalissa Brooke on Google, you can find people talking about her on fanfiction.net forums and how she's a scammer. You can find her in the comments of Wattpad stories. It goes on and on. And this is still an ongoing issue. Just this morning, as I was working on this video, I got another comment. Now, this one I'm not sure if it's fake or not, but I'm just so wary because of everything else that happened. The comment reads, "You have a unique voice as a writer, and it stands out." Which is such a nothing comment. If you are truly interested in my story, you're going to talk about the characters. You're going to talk about, "Oh, I think this is a really cool idea," or "I'm excited to learn more about the plot." If I was commenting on someone's writing, I would not say they have a unique voice. I would maybe say they have a unique perspective. I would say this is an intriguing or interesting plot idea. But saying I have a unique voice doesn't mean anything. Everyone who writes has a unique voice. It's just how writing works. That is, unless they're using AI-generated content, because it's created from an amalgamation of material. It's programmed to predict what it thinks the user wants, rather than someone creating a story because they want to, writing because they are interested in this character and putting this character in different scenarios, in twisting a trope. Like, just, AI is not capable of caring about its work. Is there anything we can do to stop these kind of bots? Yes and no. You can and should report users you think are spam or trying to scam people, but we as users do not have a way to tackle this bigger issue other than just warning each other. It's really something that websites and companies need to handle. Websites like YouTube or Wattpad, who have a bigger group of people working under them, have more tools and resources, but even then they still struggle to combat it. And websites like AO3, which are community funded, who are nonprofits, do not have a big enough staff to handle things like this. But here are some things you can do to figure out if a comment or message is fake or not. Grammar issues are usually going to be a pretty big giveaway. Additionally, check and see when the account was created. For all 4 of these comments, these accounts were created within the last month, and Dilys's AO3 account was created the day before she commented on my story. Also, if they're trying to get you to message them on a different site, if they're asking for payment, or needlessly advertising, those are also things to look out for. With the expansion of generative AI, it is getting harder to spot stuff like this, but if you know where to look, usually you can figure it out. And the other thing is these people aren't trying to cover all their bases. They don't need to be wholly convincing. They just need to be convincing enough so that at first glance you don't question anything. And that's why you need to take second and third glances and realize, hey, this doesn't actually make sense. This doesn't look correct. This is a contradiction to the other 3 addresses I found across your websites. Things like that. I don't really have a nice way to sum this up. I don't even think I really had a concrete point to this video. I just find it interesting the lengths that these scammers will go to, and the fact that they're targeting such a specific group of writers and artists I think is very intriguing. But have you ever had this happen to you? Do you have any weird scammer stories yourself? I'd love to hear them. If you like this video or just in general like deep dives into really random subjects, or sorry, random stuff, please like and subscribe. It means a lot. And I'll talk to you guys later. Bye!